Roman Reigns just handed Jacob Fatu a live grenade and told him to go pull the pin on Seth Rollins. That's not a joke, that's basically what happened on Raw. And if you know anything about how Bloodline stories work, that one moment might already be telling us who's walking into WarGames in November. Welcome back to WWE Galaxy, I'm Nova. Let's talk about where this Bloodline is actually headed, because there's a lot happening under the surface right now that I don't think people are connecting yet. Let's get the current roster straight first. Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, and now Jacob Fatu. That's the group as it stands. Fatu didn't join because he wanted to. He lost to Reigns twice, at Backlash and then again at Clash in Italy, and the deal was simple. Lose again and you acknowledge Roman as your tribal chief. He did it. Reigns literally put the Ula Fala around his neck on Raw a few weeks back. But here's the thing, and this is important. The Usos are not thrilled about this. They spent weeks trying to recruit Fatu themselves and got nowhere. Reigns says one thing and suddenly Fatu's falling in line. That's already a crack. And then you've got the moment that really got people talking. Cameras caught Reigns leaning in and telling Fatu to go after Seth Rollins. Not a speech, just an order. And Fatu's been throwing people through tables ever since, including an actor who wasn't even supposed to be part of the segment, which, I mean, that's a story for another day. Now layer this on top. Reigns and Rollins are already locked in for SummerSlam. World Heavyweight Championship on the line. First singles match between them since Royal Rumble 2022. Rollins spent that whole promo reminding Reigns of every time he's beaten him. The chair to the back that ended the Shield, cashing in Money in the Bank to steal the title in 2015, beating him clean at WrestleMania 41. Reigns didn't argue with any of it. He just said he needs to win this time. So you've already got Fatu potentially getting sent after Rollins before SummerSlam even happens. If that plays out the way it looks like it's building, Rollins comes out of that entire stretch with more reasons to hate this bloodline than he's ever had. And a guy with that kind of motivation, walking into the fall with a grudge against Reigns and Fatu both, that's exactly the setup WWE loves heading into a WarGames match. If you made it this far, you clearly care about this story as much as I do, which, honestly, that's a little concerning for both of us. Smash that like button, get subscribed, and let's get into who I actually think could be walking into that cage. Now, full transparency before I list these. WWE hasn't announced a WarGames match yet. Nothing here is confirmed. Survivor Series is still months out, but everything I just laid out is real, and it's exactly the kind of groundwork WWE tends to lay months before they ever say the words WarGames out loud. So here's who I'm watching. Zilla Fatu. Now here's a name where the timing gets interesting. There's nothing public yet. WWE hasn't put out an announcement, hasn't added him to the roster page, hasn't said a word, but he was spotted at the Performance Center going through medical checks, which is usually the last box that gets checked before a deal gets done. And that's the thing about WWE. They don't announce these guys the second the ink dries. They sit on it and drop it when it does the most damage. Imagine a surprise Zilla Fatu reveal, walking straight into a WarGames cage with the crowd having zero idea it was coming. That's exactly the kind of moment WWE loves to hold in their back pocket. So even if nothing's official right now, that doesn't mean there isn't already a plan sitting in a drawer somewhere in Stamford. Solo Sikoa. And this is where it gets interesting, because as of the most recent SmackDown, Sikoa has nothing left. Tama Tonga and Talla Tonga straight up walked out on him, told him the elders had spoken and they were done, and left him standing there completely alone. He tried to recruit LA Knight to help him take down the Bloodline. Knight said no. He tried Royce Keys. Also no. Nobody trusts him because everybody remembers what happened with the Usos. They left the Bloodline too and eventually crawled right back. So right now, Sikoa's got motive. He's got history with Fatu, and he's got absolutely nothing to lose. A guy in that position, heading into the fall with no crew and no options left, is exactly the kind of desperate that makes for great WarGames television. Sami Zayn. And look, I almost left this one for last, but honestly, he might be the most interesting name on the list. Zayn was already part of this exact group once. He stood with Reigns and the Usos in the OG Bloodline back at WarGames in 2024. That history doesn't just disappear, except now he's not some guy scrapping for a spot. He's the undisputed WWE champion, coming off beating Cody Rhodes and Gunther in Riyadh. Would WWE really pull their new champion into a Bloodline WarGames match while he's also juggling a title feud with Cody? Maybe not, but the relationship's already there, and if Zayn's reign starts wobbling the way people are speculating it might, a familiar face to run back to isn't the craziest idea in the world. Seth Rollins himself, and hear me me out on this one because I don't think it's likely, but it's not impossible. Every Bloodline story eventually needs its next storyline villain turned recruit, and Rollins has already been approached by this group once before and said no. If Reigns manages to actually beat him at SummerSlam, does something shift? Probably not, but I wouldn't put it completely off the table. And then there's the wildcard category, somebody from outside the current picture entirely. We saw this exact thing happen back in 2024, when nobody expected CM Punk to be the fifth man, and he showed up out of nowhere thanks to Paul Heyman. WWE has pulled that card before. Nothing says they won't pull it again. If I had to bet right now today with what's on screen, I'm leaning Solo Sikoa, a man with nothing left to lose, rejected by everyone he's approached, with real history and real motive against this exact bloodline. That's too good a story not to use. Zilla Fatu's my second guess, mostly because WWE loves a surprise reveal and the timing lines up too well to ignore. And Zayn's my sneaky third. His championship situation is volatile enough right now that anything could happen to him between now and November. So that's where my head's at, but I want yours. Who do you think ends up being the fifth member when WarGames actually gets built out? Sikoa, Zilla, Zayn, somebody nobody's even talking about yet? Drop your pick in the comments and tell me why. Like the video if this got you thinking, subscribe if you're new, and I'll keep tracking this one all the way to Survivor Series. I'm Nova, WWE Galaxy. See you in the next one.